Okay, so I'm in the camper today, at least for a few minutes. The other day, I made a video and I was loading up a couple push mowers. The guy wanted me to swap the engine from one push mower over to the other one. Well, it was actually a push mower onto a self-propelled mower. And he was saying that he bought this mower at the end of the year, last year, so like in December timeframe, on clearance. The problem is the motor serial number was produced in 2022, so that was 3 years ago. So go back to 2024 when he claims to have bought it, that would have been 2 years old. So I was kind of struggling with the idea that he'd actually bought it last season. Now, this guy is a great guy. I get a lot of business from him. I'm going to get more business from him here pretty soon. He's going to bring one of his mowers down to get it serviced here shortly. So I'm not making any accusations, to be honest. I just want to explain what happened. And how hard it is sometimes to go with the customer's knowledge of what's going on with the engine, I guess is the best way to put it. Originally, he wanted me to take a look at the mower because it was making a horrible noise, and he had only ran it 5 times. Actually, his daughter. He gave it to his daughter is what it was. Now, you can look at it and see that it's pretty dirty. So, how old is it really? I don't know. But right here, it's upside down, but you'll see the serial number is 2022. I did the diagnosis, I guess I should say, and I started up. It started, but man, it was ding, 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 ding. It was just making a heck of a noise. So I shut it off because I was afraid it's going to throw a connecting rod into my lake. So I shut it off. I took the spark plug out, and here would be the piston right here. And I was turning the engine, and the piston would come up, and I could push the piston back with the screwdriver. So it was just rocking in there really bad. So I told him it was going to need a new engine, and that was going to be I don't know, $395. That sounds like that's about the right price. No, $295. That's what it was, $295. So he has this other mower, and he had me swap it. So the other day I took the mowers back to him after I swapped it, and he said, "You can keep this mower, I don't need it." Even though I took it to him, he said, "I don't need it." Which is good, because it's got a carburetor on, it's got an ignition coil, a head. I don't know why I'd ever need to change a head on a push mower, but if I ever did, it's got a governor, it's got different things that I might be able to use. So I decided yesterday I'd just rip it apart. It only takes a few seconds to take these apart and take a look, see what was really going on. So here we have the piston. Now I don't have the other side to this, but this we have the piston right here. So the piston goes in here. Now I don't have a ring compressor. Now goes in, and so you would compress the rings and slide the rest of the way in. And then, so that piece that at the end of the connecting rod there hooks up to this journal right here. And then you clamp the other side on. So I took it apart to see what was going on. I'm telling you, that piston is tight. Well, I didn't see that yesterday, but there is a little bit of scoring there, so it's gotten hot. So I didn't see. I looked at the cylinder. Cylinder looked fine, but I didn't look at the piston. So when you take it apart, you can see this is wrapped around that journal on the crank shaft, and there was a huge gap in it, probably, I don't know, 1/4 inch. It was huge, and it was just knocking around in there. So these type of pistons don't have a bearing. That's what I'm trying to think. The connecting rod here is the bearing itself, and there's a thin layer of oil in between it. So the other thing is this screw was coming out a ways. No, this screw, sorry. So I take it out because he says the manufacturer has messed this up. He only ran it 5 times. There's no way he messed it up. Now originally I changed the oil in that the first time I looked at it, and the oil came out gray. So it tells me there was bearing wear because the aluminum is turning the oil gray. So anyway, you take this apart and you can see, at least I can see here, that this is war. It is just absolutely, you rake your fingers across it, it's terrible. You can see some wear marks there. Metal is bent over. It's actually melted a little. It's gotten so hot. Melted there. So it has overheated, and it has not been lubricated correctly. The screw that was hanging out, you can see, has wore so much that it left a groove there. That's why the screw was coming out. The other side didn't do that. Now remember, there's a piece here that holds this in. I should try to explain that better. So I decided to Google what's the likelihood that Briggs & Stratton didn't tighten that one bolt. And Google came back and said it's nearly impossible. They have all kinds of checks and balances. Now, the Pushmore Briggs & Stratton motor is a very solid motor. It's probably one of the best out there. I recognize some of the riding mowers have issues, but they've been producing these engines on Pushmores forever without much change. I mean, 20 years ago they made a change, but not much. They're a solid motor. Engine, excuse me. You know, somebody's going to correct me. So they said it was all robotics. It would be very unlikely that the robot missed that screw. And then they have quality checks, which I agree. I mean, I've worked in manufacturing. I understand how this works. You run it through the process and then you check it. Most of the time, they're probably 100% checked right online. With scanning tools, I remember one time we had a machine that took a picture of every part that went through. And if the part wasn't made right, it would stop the whole line. It's kind of neat, actually. So the question I have is, and it's not really a question I'm posing, it's a question of myself. Why would somebody be so adamant that it was the company's fault? Now, he said he changed oil after this happened, and then there was metal shavings in it, which there is still metal shavings in it. I rubbed my finger through the cylinder wall yesterday, and I was pulling out, I don't know if you can see that, but there's metal shavings in my finger there. But that is from the connecting rod wearing. That's all that is. Now, I'm pretty sure this guy would understand what it means not to have enough oil in something. It just seems, he seems to have some common sense to him. The other, when I was explaining what I had to do to modify that engine, on the swap, he was, I couldn't remember the word I wanted to use. I'm getting old. I was looking for the word spacer. And I showed him what I was doing. He says, spacer? Yeah, that's exactly right. He understood the problems we were going to have with that spacer. He understood all of it. So it seemed like that he has some mechanical knowledge, which would indicate to me that he would know to check the oil. It had to be low on oil. He said he changed it after it happened. I don't think he did. Or if he did, he ran it quite a bit with that knocking noise. Because it was low on oil when I got it, and it still had that gray tone with the aluminum metal shavings in it. So this is one of the difficulties that I have with just people. It just seems to me people are ready to blame somebody else instead of looking at themselves first. And that is a struggle for me. It always has been. I tend to always look at that I've done something wrong, then immediately assume that somebody else did something wrong. I see this a lot on this Facebook group that I've been following on, well, on Facebook about lawnmower repairs. Is they'll change the carburetor and say, well, now I got this problem. So I got a junk carburetor because it doesn't work. Well, it's more likely you didn't install it correctly. And I find it interesting how many people in my lifetime has immediately accused somebody else for their mistake. They don't even realize it could be their mistake. I've put carburetors on before, and it sounds terrible. And I don't go around assuming it's the carburetor. I immediately assume, oh, did I do something wrong when I put it back on? So I can check. Use some starting fluid, for example. You know, you missed a gasket or you got something on upside down. Honda engines are terrible with this. And I've put carburetors on tons of Honda engines, and I still get it messed up sometimes. So you spray some carburetor cleaner on it, you'll instantly know with the RPM change that, yep, you got an air leak somewhere. So something's on wrong. But you'll get on Facebook and they'll take a picture of the carburetor, brand new carburetor. It runs worse than it did before. And you can see that something's on wrong. You can see it in the picture. Terrible carburetor. I wouldn't buy these aftermarket carburetors. They're terrible. This guy has been trying to get a refund on this mower for a while now because the motor blew up on him. And it's just so obvious that it's a lack of oil. Now, the bigger problem I have is I don't know how to tell people these things. When they've done something wrong, how do you tell them you've done something wrong? They just... I remember last year I had a pressure washer. He wanted me to fix. It wasn't running. So I took the spark plug out, and it was misthreaded. It was threaded incorrectly. And I said that I don't know who did it. And so I told him, I said, well, the head is shot. Now, I know some mechanics will tell you that you can rethread them. I don't, because it can become unsafe. That spark plug can shoot out when you rethread it, put a helo coil and anything in it like that. It can shoot out, and now you have a safety hazard. So I just replaced the head. I tell him the spark plug was put in incorrectly. As I was taking it out, a piece fell down into the engine. Well, I don't know who would have done that. I don't remember anybody working on it. I don't think I've had it. I don't think he was accusing me of anything either. I just said all I did was take the spark plug out, and it fell apart in my hands. So I don't know if he was accusing the manufacturer of a defect or something. I mean, it was an older... But you know he took that spark plug out, and they're really hard to reach. And if you watch my other channel, you'll see that I tell you, you need to thread that all the way in with your fingers or with just a socket, not with the ratchet, until it bottoms out. Once it bottoms out, then you can tighten it with the ratchet. So it's in a really bad spot on these Honda engines. And so it's easy to get it misthreaded. And instead of just saying, okay, it's not going in smoothly, he took a ratchet, cranked it all the way down. Pieces fell, you know, the broken off pieces of the head fell down into the cylinder area and jammed up the whole engine. So it's easier to deny that you've done something wrong, I guess. But to me, I can't do that. I always accuse myself first. Always. Sometimes people actually have to talk me out of it's my fault. Carolyn does it all the time. No, that wasn't your fault. Yeah, I should have done this differently or something. No, you did not do anything wrong. So I'm always the first to accuse myself. Maybe it's low self-esteem. I don't know what it is. But why do people have so much confidence in their abilities that they can't admit when it's possible they made a mistake? Like I said, this guy is just adamant that he did nothing wrong. What's really strange to me is it wasn't him that was running the mower. It was his daughter. So it seems more likely to me that his daughter said, yeah, I added oil, Dad. I'm not saying she didn't, but maybe didn't add enough. or didn't understand how much she was supposed to put in it. Something like that. Who knows? So, I know a lot of people don't know how to read that dipstick. So, I don't know. I just, I would like it to be easier to communicate with people when it's their mistake. I just don't know what the answer is. So if you'll click this up next box to take the video over to my other channel, it'll be a brand new video today. I really appreciate it if you go check it out. So hope I can inspire you to be honest with yourself, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.